Okay, now we are.
But I can't see you. Oh, there you are. Hi,
Yeah, okay.
I can't hear you.
Can?
Oh, now I can.
Okay. Should I bring the mic closer or you're fine? It's
No,
clear.
I can hear you.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna mute Carmen, okay? Okay, there we go.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, shoot, oh.
Now I can hear you. Sorry.
Okay. So you,
Carmen.
so you
Yes,
want to
sir.
hear them? So,
Oh, no, I'm gonna let him rock.
okay,
Here you go.
all right.
Is this meeting?
We're recording. Hi, Al.
Good afternoon.
You have Carmen clearly?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
How was your drive? Not too bad?
Not bad, it's just a lot of traffic, but it's all going through
Yeah.
in the mid-70s, and as long as you stay
All
in that, right,
All right,
Okay,
good.
that's good.
you're okay.
Did you guys get a lot of snow down there or no?
None.
None?
None.
What?
A lot of rain. We got a lot
Oh,
of rain
yeah,
and
the
a lot
shore.
of wind.
Wow.
That's what, Noni said, the same thing. She said, she's down in Trumbull, Stratford. She said,
Really?
No.
mainly
Yeah.
rain. Yeah,
Shoreline living,
Yeah.
I guess.
yeah.
Boy, I had quite a time with my computer.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I thought, how can you not just, with that line, push it in it and it works? But,
Yes.
so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, what just happened?
Okay, there we go.
All
Okay.
One sec.
right.
Hi.
Hi. Bear with me one sec. I gotta fix my background. I'll be right back.
All right.
So, yeah, so you had a.
So,
I spent the last 2 days on the phone, working with the computer. I mean,
HP or?
HP,
Yep.
and they were great. Of course, trying to get in with a call from the outside, you have to wait 15, 20 minutes for them to answer. You finally get somebody, and then everybody I got, you can see I had to do this several times, but they were great and helped me, but they could only go to a certain extent, and then it would take, if you had to reload programs and reload things,
Oh,
it
no.
would take a long time, so they'd call, so I'd have to call again when it was done, and
Oh.
the last thing they decided, I had to totally download all my files from my computer, because they're gonna start from the beginning,
Oh.
reload everything to get it to work, so.
Oh.
After trying, they tried everything to get it to work, but,
and they didn't?
well, I had the downloading of all the data on my computer. I thought would take about an hour. It took about, I started about 3 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon, and by 11 o'clock at night, it was all downloaded to a drive.
Yep.
So then I had to call them back and figure out how
Oh.
to reload it. It's a nightmare. And during this whole thing, I said, I should just go out and buy another.
Right, I was gonna say, at this point, you're like,
But
oh, boy.
Carmen and Alicia, does this look good or no?
Yes, you look great.
Yes.
Yep,
Okay.
everything looks good.
Okay.
Oh, Jean's here. Jean Morningstar.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Jean.
So you're
This is
gonna
a
end up.
different look now. This thing changes all the time.
I think the chair's jumping up too.
I don't know if you have a copy, but I printed a copy. Oh, you did?
I do,
Okay.
yeah. I do.
You have the minutes from the last.
Oh, that I didn't.
Oh, well,
It's on here.
Greg, I have this. You want me to sign it?
oh, you can sign it, because I'm presuming you're coming on, the
Oh, that's right.
13th.
Yeah, yeah.
If you sign it now,
Well, you can
I'll
always
update it, yeah.
rip it up if
Yeah,
if
right,
I don't
yeah.
show up, right?
You don't show up, I'll hold you accountable.
Okay.
All right.
Then we have Lauren, is Lauren signed off?
Yes, I believe it's Lauren.
Tom, is Tom coming?
I think Tom couldn't make it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he couldn't make it.
Yeah, do we have any all the confirmations? Do we know who confirmed?
Yes, let me just look at my list real quick. So we had Mr. Birdling, is present. Mr. Anneman is not able to attend. Chair Palachi will be in attendance. Ms. Morningstar is already here. Lauren Gothier should be here. And I did not receive any responses from Mr. Rivero or Ms. Carnes.
Okay.
All right.
It's 3:00, should we go?
Yep.
Okay. I called the work group meeting in order. And hopefully you all have the agenda. It was sent out in advance along with some additional schedules and information that we'd like to chat about today. Basically, the meeting, wanted to have the meeting to bring everybody up to date as to where we are in the process and talk a little bit about our progress and what has happened and where we are at this point and as we look forward, what's in the future. We just start off, I mean, we started the year. It's been an eventful year.
Just have to.
Oh, I'm sorry. We gotta approve the minutes from the August 13th meeting. Hopefully you've all had a chance to read those and like a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Do we have a second? I'll second it. All in favor? Is there any discussion? All in favor of accepting the minutes?
I'm
Say
an aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, minutes accepted. Thank you.
Al, it's Lauren Gothier. I'm going to abstain. I didn't get a chance to look over those.
Okay,
My apologies. Thank
all
you.
right. Let's talk about the year and what we've been through. At the beginning of the year, with the new staff, we got to work about thinking about what is the audit, how should it be, what should the scope be, et cetera. And our first account examiner started the process of putting together a complete list of compliance requirements for procurement in the state. And if you think about it, to get a list of all the compliance requirements is quite a task. You have to go to a number of different sources, and there really was no overall place where you could go and feel good that you have everything you have to comply with when you go through the procurement process. So we started that process and not sure how far we get along with that before our county examiner left his position. So that that meant that we had to go out and replace the auditor. And luckily, we were very fortunate to come up with Maritza, who accepted the job and joined us. And Maritza came into the, hi Donna, welcome. Had to come in and pick up the pieces as to where we were and certainly understand where we wanted to go. And she, along with John, our procurement officer, have taken the ball and built an excellent, what I think is an excellent program to test compliance with procurement by the agencies. So we selected 11 agencies that we were going to audit for the year. And we started the process and we're moving along. And quite frankly, what we did is we selected probably some of the smaller agencies so that we could test our programs and our approach on the smaller agencies, get some experience, hone that experience so that we could constantly improve and change where change was needed in the process. So we're coming along, but then sometime in, I think it was August or September, we lost the input from our chief procurement officer. He went on leave. So the whole effort of auditing our $18.8 billion in procurement in the state fell on Maritza. And Maritza showed up every day and tried to go through all the steps on the 11 agencies that we approached, that we started on. And it's just turned out to be too big a job to finish all those agencies in the time frame we had with the disruptions we had during the year. The beauty of it is, I think that we came out of the year having completed 7 of the 11 agencies that we set out to do. We have what I think is a great program. We've identified everything we have to look for in terms of compliance when we went to these agencies. We have a process that has changed along the way. We first started out going in the agencies and just asked the agency to tell us where we could find this information. But I think during the year, we realized that, hey, this would take us 25 years to finish these audits by us going out and trying to find and interpret data. So we designed an approach where we gave a direction to the agencies that they did significant part of the accumulation of the data that we were looking for, which speeded up the process, I think, considerably, and certainly made our task a bit easier. So we did accomplish 7 agencies, and here we came to the end of the year and decided, okay, we got 7 agencies. We have good findings from each of those agencies, which we completed. We'll take those and then take the 4 agencies that we didn't finish and move those into the next fiscal year. So here we are at the end of the year. We have the 7 agencies completed. We have a couple of reports that the board has to approve this coming, which will make up the 7. And we also have a draft of our first triennial audit report, which summarizes what we did, who we are, and what we found during the year, and also tell the story to anybody who's reading it that our approach is to, we're required, we have to go into all agencies and every 3 years, but go into the agencies, select examples of their procurement processes, which is documented through their contracts and the supporting documents, examine those and compare those, what they have to what they should have in accordance with the compliance requirements. And we came out of that finding that there is compliance. There are findings we had where there were non-compliance. And it's our position to identify those non-compliance, not to be an I gotcha, but to identify those areas of non-compliant as a training tool for those agencies. Be aware of what you're not complying with and to come up with plans and management oversight so that you make sure that all your purchasing is done in accordance with the compliance rules that the state set up. So here we are, we're at the end. We've come up with a report. We've summarized the findings from each of the agencies, and we've accumulated those to see what our cumulative issues are in this set of agencies which we did this year. And that's important because we're going to take this and certainly pass that along to Carmen so that she can make sure that any training that we do does focus on where we're finding the issues. And our hope is that, and by the way, with this report, we want to certainly give it to the legislature and the state librarian as we are required to. But we also are going to send that out to all the agency heads so that they can see the kind of findings that we came up with in their first year. And certainly, hopefully, they'll pass those and reports on to their procurement people or personnel to make sure that they understand what the issues are and make sure that their particular agencies pay attention to those certain areas. So anyway, if it works right, by the time we finish the 3 years going through all the agencies, when we go through the second cycle of 3 years, hopefully we won't have any issues, or if we have issues, they'll be incidental, there'll be exceptions from the rules. So this is what we hope will happen, and I think we've got a good start. It's not what we had planned, but it's not enough to throw us apart. But I want to talk about that today and certainly get your input on that. But we also want to discuss, we have one account examiner with the task of auditing procurement for $18.8 billion in open contracts in the state this year. And let me tell you that job is bigger than our one account examiner. And Maritza we're lucky we have her because, in face of this mammoth task, she's smiling, she's completing stuff, and we're really learning and doing a lot of good stuff. But I'm not sure we can do that for 3 years. I mean, I don't think we're able with one auditor. I don't think we're able to do it. So hopefully, as we go through today and discuss parts of, our approach, et cetera, any ideas that come from any one of you that could streamline our process, could make us think of things in a different way, or where we get additional resources. Any of those ideas are important for us to discuss and talk about, because any ideas that can help us move this faster, do the same quality job is a benefit to the state as well as the citizens of our state. So anyway, that's what we'd like to accomplish today. And the first thing on in the handouts was, unless you have any questions at this point, first thing in the handouts was a couple of reports that we want to send to the board from agencies, the last 2 agencies. And what was that? That was the deep environmental protection, and the other one,
The Department of Insurance. Department of Insurance.
Department of Insurance. You looked at the Department of Insurance, basically there were no findings on that. Is it?
No.
So hopefully that's an easy one to approve. Deep is a little Department of Environmental Protection is a little different. And maybe we should take these individually. So is there any thought, any issues on moving that Department of Insurance to the board at our next meeting for the board to approve that we issue it? I think we've,
Lauren raised her hand. I'm sorry, Lauren raised her hand.
oh, I'm sorry, Lauren, yes.
Yeah, could I just get a little bit better clarity about the second contract that was audited? It says that it's at no cost to the state, but the contract is providing compensation for services offered by the contractor. So how are we providing compensation if there's no cost associated with the contract?
Brittany, you want to explain that?
So
It's,
I'm sorry, can you just repeat the question?
Right. So if we're paying a contractor for services, how can we say the contract has no cost?
as I remember, that was a service that we were paying for, that we just pick a qualified vendor to provide the services to agencies, I mean, to companies that were using those services, and they pay the vendor a fee, a license fee or whatever for that. Is that?
I will have to get back to you, Lauren, on that. I don't have the answer to that right now, but I am gonna look into it and I can get back to you with it in the email, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
have
I
the,
just don't think I can vote to approve it. It just doesn't make sense.
sure, okay, all right. Is that something we could do?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
gonna look
great.
into it and then I'll get back to her
Okay.
regarding that. Yeah.
All right. It was an unusual contract, and I think
Sure.
the state's part of that was very little. They just selected a universal vendor that people could use, but they pay a fee to use that service, so. If we can move on to the,
Well, I have another question about this one.
Sure.
Was the agency solicited for comment on the report?
I believe they were. I have to check in the emails again, but I'm pretty sure that they did.
Okay, they didn't have anything to add?
no, there was no,
Okay,
Well, we just let them know, yeah, that there was no findings, right? There was no finding regarding it, so they kind of just agreed that it was, the auditor was done, it went well for them.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's important just to make sure that we document that we did talk to the agency, even if they had nothing to
Yeah.
respond to, or if they agreed that there were no findings or something like that. I think
Good.
that should be included in the report.
yeah,
Okay.
good point, good point. Okay, any
That's all I
other
have.
question? Any other? Moving on to Department of Environmental Protection. The findings are listed there. And I mean, they were pretty standard. I thought the agency had responded to those. Bertha, we don't have that.
No, so what happened was, I did reach out to them. They did provide via email the findings that I found. They did respond, they did submit a response to it. So for example, for the first contract, does everyone have a copy of it with them? Because,
Yes, thank you.
okay, so for example, when, if you go to the non-compliance summary for contract 22 DEP 2222488, there was two findings for that contract. So the first finding was for competitive competition. So they didn't submit the 3 bids that were supposed to be submitted. And then also the second one was for the ethics. So they didn't have the staff sign any ethics agreements, being that it is our RFP contract. Now, when I reached out to them, they did submit the 3rd bid for the first finding, which was the competition. They did submit the 3rd finding for it, which is why it was eliminated from the findings in the report. So now then it just left with the ethics. And then for the second contract, there was 2 findings, which was the ethics and the contractor performance evaluation, which is, again, for the ethics, they the staff did not submit an ethics agreement. And then the contract performance evaluation, the contract had ended, but they just didn't provide, an evaluation of that contractor. So that's why the finding is there. And they did respond to this via email. I just didn't include it in this report because I don't think I was supposed to put it in there. I can submit the email if you guys want, and I think I did send it to you, Al, when I send you the report. I did included the email to the response. I can send that to you guys if you guys want to see that as well. They do have a report, and then based on the finding that you wanted to include regarding the APA, then they will submit the whole report with their response to all the
Okay.
findings.
All right. There's another finding, the other finding in our report, which probably was written after they saw the first, right?
Yes,
So
correct.
that's in process. Hopefully we get all their findings
Yes,
as a result of this meeting. But this last finding, the auditors of public accounts did I don't know if, did an audit of their procurement 2 years ago. And the auditors, I've listed it here, in their findings, found some of the same findings that we made when we did our current year's audit. So, and this is on me, this is what I wrote on that. Let me read it to you. Okay, the board reviewed the audit report of the State of Connecticut Auditors of Public Accounts for the years ended June 30, 2021 and 2022, 2 years ago, for the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. Finding 4 controls over procurement, that report indicated the following. In 2 instances, DEEP did not provide support for the written questions. In 3 instances, purchase orders referenced DEEP contracts. However, the department did not provide these contracts. Further, DEEP did not provide required ethics affidavits and certificates for the $769,000 contract. This not providing the certificates is same finding we found 2 years later. So I wrote this. The auditors of public accounts went on to say in their findings, the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection should strengthen their internal controls to ensure compliance with purchasing laws and retention standards. So I came along and saw that we came up with the same or similar findings to what the auditors of public accounts found 2 years ago. So I added this to it. And there's some controversy over this, but I thought it was appropriate. The audit performed by the auditors of public accounts 2 years ago had similar findings to those we noted in our current report. This condition is unacceptable for the expenditure of state taxpayer funds. It must be addressed by DEEP management as a priority. Anyway, my thought is, come on. The auditors of public account found the same things 2 years ago that we're finding now. Where is management's oversight of the procurement area? You would expect that an auditor making the point, they would correct the issue or pay attention to it or make sure that it's not going to show up again. And they had a weakness, they got to fix it. They clearly did not. So there's a number of ways you can handle that, but I thought that we as a board could express the fact that that is unacceptable. I mean, if you get a finding of internal control where you're purchasing millions of dollars, I mean, you've got to do something about it. You've got to correct that. And if you don't, we don't make the point again. I mean, it's more than just making the point again. Seems to me you've got to call attention to the fact that agency management is not exercising their oversight, proper oversight of their purchasing function, and that should be stated. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, we could say, we could just make the point and go away, or we could be a little stronger and we don't think that that is appropriate action. Any thoughts?
And yeah, Al, I'm in favor of the stronger language. The point needs to be made. They're very large dollar contracts, and management needs to be more involved if they're having significant findings year over year from multiple agencies at this point.
I like it too. This.
Are there consequences for them if they don't?
We're the only consequence. We're the only consequence. We find it, we do have strong powers in the law, but we need an interpretation of how we can present that to them. I mean, we have the power to negate a contract if by an agency if it's not done, we don't think it's done properly, or it isn't done properly. Now, how that, it seems to me we have the power. We can't walk by this and just let it go. We have to have some teeth in what we say. And I think here we're saying it's unacceptable. And then what I would suggest that we do is we require them in 60 days to send us a letter as to how they have mitigated this or corrected this in their process. And I think we also have to have the right that sometime in the next 2 years, we may come unannounced again and select additional contracts and make sure that we don't see this continuing. If we went in again unannounced and did that in a year and a half from now and found that they were still doing, I would think that we should seriously call them in for a hearing and have them tell us why they should continue to have the authority to use state funds to purchase purchasing. I don't know. That's my opinion. I can't make the rules, but I think we have that power ultimately. But
Moreover, Al,
we can't just walk by this and do nothing.
I
I'm
agree.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying I agree, and I'm doing my handy dandy lookup of the statutes. But in addition to just being able to cancel a single contract that we find violation issue with, the board has the power to revoke a state agency's ability to do their own procurements at all, right? We have that within our statute. Further, we have the power through our certification of CPOs to deem that they do not have a certified chief procurement officer within their agency. Now, that's a little bit harder for us to say since I don't think we've gotten around to formalizing that process and giving any certifications out yet. But certainly the board has immense power to try to hold these agencies, these repeat offenders to account. And I think that all of that should be cited within the report.
Al, do we have any information that the commissioner saw it?
So, so when I reached out to Deep regarding this, again, I just wanted to let you guys know that the contract, the auditing was already completed. Once this was included, the agency wanted to bring it up to the commissioner, the person I've been dealing with in Deep. They are gonna present it to their commissioner and they're gonna get back to us regarding, I guess, their response to it. When I did have the conversation with them, you know, I got a chance to review the APA auditing as well. And I don't know how many of you did, but in there you can see that the agency did provide a response to them, to APA. So that's why I kind of felt like it wasn't necessary to be included in this auditing. Just because this happened during the pandemic time. Now, I can't make the whole decision, right? So I did bring that to Al's attention. And they did provide a response as to why this finding wasn't, I guess, accomplished. Now, they just had a little bit of a concern regarding the language and just the whole point of just including it in our audit. And my understanding is that when we use APA audits, it's just like a reference that we do. Again, this is new to me. I wasn't sure that it was supposed to be included, or we were able to include it in our auditing report. But that's just a response. That's what they decided. So that I'm just waiting for them to reach back out to me, letting me know what the commissioner had her opinion or about it. So.
I think there's no question we have the right to make that observation and tell them it's unacceptable practice. What our consequences are, I think we need Erin has to weigh in on this as to, read the power we have from the board over purchasing and tell us what we can say. I'm just assuming that in our responsibility to audit, we guys can't walk away from something where we see it's a risk. That's a risk to the state. But Erin, and I don't know if you've ever chatted with Erin about trying to define really what our powers are in a case like this.
Yeah, not specifically in this instance, but we did have a discussion, we've had discussions about trying to define the parameters of for the board as to what our powers are. And so Aaron has begun research on that. And so hopefully he'll have more information on that as we move forward. So I know Aaron's on the line now, so.
Okay, well, what's the will of the?
Oh, he's got his hands.
Oh,
Aaron.
oh, Aaron.
Yeah, part of my my voice, I've been really under the weather all week with a sinus infection, but I wanted to just quickly point out that when I first started with the agency, I did do a write-up. This was within the first couple of months. It's a little more rudimentary, but not as formal as the as far as format as subsequent legal opinions. And it's a little more general, but I did do a write-up about all of this as far as the board's power to cancel contracts. I believe it was issued in January, and I would be happy to resend it to you, Al, and the rest of the members of the audit committee, and or I could briefly make it into just like a summary, key points, things of that nature. And I'd also be happy to just have a one-on-one discussion about this further, just to get everyone up to speed.
Aaron, I see in the regulations that we can cancel a contract, right? If we find that it's there's reason to do that with an agency. But how does that, they're specific, canceling a contract or denying a contract. How do you relate that to the broader scope of when we're in now of an agency which is not given the oversight over the purchasing function to limit these risks? These lapses of non-compliance. Any non-compliance in procurement is a risk that you can't let go. You have to follow the rules.
You're absolutely correct, Al. And that's why this agency is important. And so all this falls under 4E7. And you can look inside the statute there and read it and see that because of the gravity of the situation of either, so that's 47 is specifically for what you brought up regarding suspending or terminating the authority of an agency to do their own contracting as to penalize them in such a situation. I think you would need to, if you look at it, given the fact that it doesn't give unilateral authority to the board, you have to, if you look at the statute, excuse me, you have to also, look towards the Attorney General's office, and consult with them. Now, if the Attorney General, there could be a potential situation where we strongly feel one way, the Attorney General strongly feels another way. That type of situation needs to be carefully handled. I would prefer not to opine upon that right now, because we're not, I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse here, but there's certainly the authority in the statute for us to take away the contracting authority of an agency. Now, there's less at stake for an individual. So if we find that a specific individual is continually violating procurement law procedures, then it's a little easier for the board to unilaterally do that. But at the same time, you have to have a carefully considered plan about how the contracting of that agency will be done in the interim. So that is a major consideration that you have to take into account before proceeding down that road.
Right.
Now, in regards to just an individual contract, any particular contract has its own unique considerations. So it's hard to say, whether the board should cancel one contract over another. I think it needs to be done on a case-by-case basis if the committee recommends and for the board's consideration to cancel a contract. Now, if you wish to cancel it, there's a lot of financial considerations due to in the contracting parlance. I think of this as what's known as assuming that there's no fault of the contractor, no collusion, et cetera, termination for convenience. So you're gonna basically pay the contractor to step away from the contract. So there's financial considerations, there's there's all kinds of considerations, but the authority is there. You just have to step by step work through all that.
I guess my problem now is we're not threatening to cancel the contract. We're not doing any of that. All we're doing is say, hey, we found an issue where they're clearly not oversight of the purchasing, and we want them to fix it. But we also, in this report, our only way to do that is to bring it up in the report and say that this is wrong and you got to fix it. And we're not saying we're going to cancel a contract, but yet it's just saying that you got to fix it. And if it gives us the right to come in again to make sure that you have fixed it. I don't know. I don't think in all these, and let me tell you, I think the agencies we did this year are probably pretty simple. Or they're not the big complex contracting agencies. We're going to get into those in the next couple of years. But
yeah,
I know we're going to find issues that really need attention of the leadership of the agency. I mean, we can talk to the people doing the purchasing. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'll do better next time. But we've got to bring this up. We've got to get the attention of the leadership in a way through this reporting that is gonna be meaningful and they're gonna pay attention to it and do something about it. So that's what we're kind of wrestling with here. Here we have an opportunity, or not an opportunity, but here we see a risk. And we just can't, and I hate to do like the auditors do, and the auditors of public accounts have made this comment often, I've seen them, that they go in, they audit, they find something wrong, and they make that same point year after year after year. Not all of them, but a lot of them, they just get repeated. That's not our mission. I mean, if we find something, it seems to me we have to make enough impact that that's going to change. So how do we do that? Do we do it with this kind of a comment in this report? Or is there a better way to do that? Or do we just let this go and think about the issue for the future? I don't know.
I think I'm not hearing that folks are saying let it go, Al. I'm thinking your approach makes sense. And I also heard Maritza said there is follow-up that needs to happen with the commissioner. So I think there are a couple of steps here, right? The approach you have in terms of, just basically be very clear on how unacceptable this is and the consequences. So making sure that's reflected in the report. And then in Maritza's follow-up with the commissioner, and then, whether it's a 60-day period to remedy the situation, so we can revisit it. But I think your approach makes sense. And I'm hearing that Maritza is in communication, so I'm open to kind of having that play out a bit. But I think your approach makes sense in terms of being clear and coming down strongly in what we put in writing to the commissioner.
Great, good. So I think what we maybe we'll go with what I have here, but send it to the commissioner. I mean, to get their comments on everything, what I said, what's in the report, and then take that and deal with that as we go before the board for acceptance. That makes sense?
Makes sense to me.
Everybody okay? Is there anything else we should be doing at this point? Yes, no. Wait and give me your thoughts. Are we nuts? Are we crazy?
It sounds good, Al.
I saw Donna coming off mute.
No, I was just gonna say, I think we're on the right track here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we'll do that. We won't present this to the board until we can send it out to the agency and have them comment, get that back, and then go for it.
Right.
Okay,
Sounds good.
reasonable. Sounds reasonable. Good. I mean, this is a great, powerful thing, I mean, to find these issues and just not let them go. Not let them go until they get corrected, right? That's who we are. That's what we're supposed to do.
That's what we're doing here.
It is, exactly. Great. Okay, so we'll present the other one to the board. This one we'll hold off. We'll do it as we agreed and see where it goes, see what happens, huh?
Yes.
Great. The other thing on the agenda is $18.8 billion in purchasing done by the open contracts that we're looking at. We got Marissa, and you got our volunteer board, and certainly you got the oversight of Greg here, but it's the job is bigger than this. And I think it's very important work. I think we've got to do it. But I think we're kidding ourselves if we think, because the bigger agencies are left to come, and they are complex. And so what are options? I mean, we gave you all our approach, and I think we continue to hone that approach, but our approach, basically what our approach is, go into an agency, randomly pick what they're doing. Is it in compliance, is it not, where it's not pointed out to them? And we have facts, those facts are clear, but they did not comply, so we've clearly documented that, and it's not, you can't question those, I mean, so we're developing these facts, and it's the right approach, but it's a bigger job than Marissa. And so anyway, I talked about, we gave out the questionnaire, the audit questionnaire, and what we're doing. It's pretty comprehensive, and it's really a work of art, because in one place you have all that in a document. Actually, we should, and I think Marissa is doing this, is giving this out to the agencies so that they can distribute it to their procurement people, so that when they're contracting, they can use it as their own gauge. Is, you know, are we in compliance? Why not? I mean, that would be great, and we should share that. I guess we have. Every one we've audited, they have that.
Yes, so,
Questionnaire.
yeah, so the questionnaire is, it is sent, along with the engagement letter when the auditing is, gonna be started. So, again, coming into the new year, we are gonna start a new, we wanna do like a trial, regarding a new engagement letter that we wanna start sending to the, agencies that are gonna be audited in 2025. And I do wanna thank Carmen, because she was the one that put this document together. We have been able to go back and forth, fix whatever needs to be fixed. And I just feel like with this document, it's gonna help limit how much data we received. Within this document, the agency is gonna be able to submit what we need. It would obviously reduce the whole back and forth with them. And again, this is where the staff comes in. Apart from myself, the staff have also been helping out. And I feel like with this document, it's just gonna make the process much easier. Of course, you know, some might not understand the process of the auditing, but with this document, it's really, it's something simple that we want to do so that they can help out more. And they're able to help me out. Like if, for example, if I need to look for a certain document, a form, they can help me look up the form. And it's just, I just feel like it's gonna be a good initiative for the next audit. I'm not saying that the one that we're using now is not efficient. It is efficient, but it's just, we want it to be, this document to be more in depth. So like, again, we can reduce the whole back and forth with the agency, and because it does get time consuming. We have to wait for them to respond to emails. And this way, once they have that form and they're able to submit what they need to, it'll make it much simpler. I don't know if Carmen wants to add something regarding to the document.
Well, what we're trying to do with the document is have everything in one document. So when Maritza start reviewing the audit, everything is going to be centralized. The document also is going to be self answer. Everything is going to be, Marissa, let me see if I can share the document for a second. Let me see if I can share my, can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we're trying, can people see that screen? So
Yes.
this is how the document is going to look. What we're trying to do is, let me get to the document. So everything, when the agency received the document, they are going to be able to answer everything in the document itself. So they are going to be able to answer everything right in here. I'm sorry. DPH. So they're going to be able to answer everything right in the document. So this is going to minimize all the paperwork that Marissa is going to be receiving. For example, this is this type the document that it is, the value of the document, the type of the document. So it's going to be competitive. So everything is going to be answered on the same document. Again, just check the document. It just have just everything right in there. When we're asking a question number 1, everything is explained right in there. So if the contract is under $5,000, was this contract based upon at least 3 written quotations or bids? And then we're going to explain what are we looking for. And to explain it even more, we are going to be able to add this links so they can go in there and even add in research what we're specifically looking for. So everything is going to be right in there. We're looking for a narrative of what Marissa's looking for. So it's going to be right here. They're going to be able to respond in here. Once again, we are going to minimize the paperwork that Marissa it's going to be receiving. Now, she is going to ask for exhibits or paperwork that she needs. We are going to specifically ask to send paperwork, and we need to, the exhibits are going to be labeled a specifically certain way. So when she receives them, she knows what to look for. So everything is going to be more organized. This is going to minimize the time that she spends looking for paperwork. Hopefully this cuts time for her going back and forth looking for papers with the agencies. This also gives us, the other people in our agency, it will help us to organize and help her looking for the papers and organize it to help her to put things together for her to go over the audits. And this is everything. She has 3 checklists, and every single one of them is the same way. And then in this area, then she will be able to say it passed, everything was there, it failed, or it doesn't apply to what she's looking for. So hopefully this might make her a little easier for her. And we're going to be using this for next year. Any questions on that?
Yeah, got a question.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you want them to explain, they need 3 bids. And they say, yeah, we got 3 bids. Are we gonna see those 3 bids? Are we gonna get a copy of those bids?
That would
Yes.
be the.
Is,
that would
we
be-
just don't want them to say, yeah.
Oh, no, that's why,
We're gonna look at it and make sure that it's a bid is a bid is a bid, right?
That's where the-
everything is I'm sorry, everything is going to be in there, and then in the instructions, all the instructions are going to be there, and Marissa is going to, the instructions say that they have to include, the exhibits are, they have to be included. And in the paperwork is going to explain to them how specifically they are going to label them and how they're going to be included when they return all the information back to Maritza.
Right, good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Great. Have we tried it?
No, so that's the goal. We do want to try with the next agency that we're gonna audit in 2025. And then I just want to add a little bit more to the section that, well, the example that Carmen it's talking about. So right now, when we receive the bids, right? The bids are sent to us individually, but it's like, for example, sometimes they're sent within the contract, right? We receive the contract, we receive another attachment which states bid notice. But again, remember, we're requesting 3. So once they submit the second or the third, sometimes it's like it's all over the place. So that's why I feel like this form that Carmen has created is gonna make it look much cleaner. It's gonna look much simpler. It's gonna be easier to find better, right?
Right.
And then again, the whole time consuming, that's what we're trying to minimize as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, so that's why that's a good example, the bid notice. That's what we're trying to do with this document.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Now, Al, this is, just so you know, I know that you had talked about AI and some other things.
Yeah.
This is sort of a bridge between that and the next step, which is cloud-based AI, some of the other things that we're exploring. We're working with bits
Yes.
on more of a cloud-based AI type solution, but of course that requires funding. And we're working with bits on that as a mid to long-term solution. But again, we may be able to use bond funding through them, not out of our funding,
Great.
to solve that. So there's more to come on that, but we've been having regular meetings with them to resolve that issue in terms of funding.
Discussed, you have this giant database of every contract, every dollar being spent.
That's what we're trying to get to.
Can we use AI to go in there?
So that's part of what we're trying to
Yeah,
accomplish. So I know that that's a big deal for you. So we haven't ignored that. That's part of the discussion. We had a meeting with Beth, our liaison, and that's part of our discussion every meeting.
that's great.
So that we haven't ignored that.
Yeah.
But this,
We've gotta get-
this framework will be incorporated into that so that we can upload
Data.
the data
Oh,
and have that
Data.
included. So I just want you to know, we haven't ignored any of that. It's just,
Great.
we have to take baby steps given the resources we have, so.
Nice. Anyway, getting back, I mean, I think we're.
Oh,
Sorry,
Lauren.
Lauren, I'm sorry.
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So is it anticipated then with the change to the engagement document, that we will or will not need help? I think we still need additional help with these audits, right? And in the email thread that went around, there was significant support for trying to get a temporary worker. David, if he's interested, is that still something that we should explore? I know it's on the agenda here. I don't know if I missed where we're going to talk about that or if I'm jumping ahead, but I think that we really do need to do something to help make sure that work is still flowing and moving in the interim. And like I said, there was quite a bit of board member support for the temporary worker idea.
I'm not sure. Lauren, I'm not sure I follow what.
Sorry, are you having difficulties hearing me? I had to swap devices.
Little difficulty understanding what you're saying, but go ahead.
So I was speaking of the use of a temporary worker. I don't know if we have
Yes.
the budget
Oh,
for
yeah,
it
right.
or how long it would take to do that, but there was significant board support in the
Yes.
email thread, right? Is that something we're still considering?
No, that's an excellent point. Are we anywhere on that? I think the board was suggesting that maybe David Gay might be a possibility. We talked about the auditors of public accounts.
We
I know you
did
met
meet with
them.
we did meet with the auditors of public accounts. They conveyed to us that it would be a conflict of interest to loan us one of their auditors, given their role. Yeah, they were clear about that. They did. They were willing to collaborate with us on training efforts in terms of using some of our training to help train some of their staff.
Sure.
On procurement. In terms of a TWR and recruiting, there is opportunities for us to use TWRs. There's a list of TWRs.
What's that?
List of accounts, I think a list of different positions available to us, accounts similar to accounts examiners, a bunch of different positions that could support us. People who are essentially waiting, who are for callback that we can reach out to and take advantage of that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know now in terms of how long it would take to do that. We can take advantage of that. These are people who are, have auditing experience, that we can directly make use of. So I'm happy to pursue that through HR, go through that process.
Yeah,
And,
we should, right?
and yes,
Are these trained?
these are trained
Trained
folks who've already worked for the state as well
Okay.
in these roles. So I'm happy to pursue that.
Yeah. And who pays for that? Out of our budget?
Now that therein lies the question with any TWR,
Yeah.
the budget question.
Yeah.
So
Are we still paying, John?
Excuse me, before you guys continue, I don't think that we should be discussing this. Shouldn't the whole board discuss this?
I agree. I agree. Any hiring or firing, or not
Yeah.
firing, but any hiring should be, discussion of hiring anyone should be done by the whole
Yeah.
board. I agree
I
with
don't
you.
think this is appropriate for our subcommittee. I think we have to have the whole board now.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Jean, and that's what I was gonna weigh in on, but I'm glad Lauren kind of raised the issue in terms of what's still needed, and I wanted to follow Al's lead on what's needed. So Al and maybe Greg, we should circle back. what's
Sure. I'm
portrayed,
happy
maybe
to
we
have
can
this broader
a larger
discussion.
discussion with the.
Yeah, with the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, obviously, if we could get some manpower help, that would push this effort forward. My other thought is, I don't know, and maybe this is a board discussion.
Sure.
That the board, just think about what are the priorities of, of the board? What are the most important things? And are we allocating our resources or our people in light of what our ranking of our priorities?
Sure.
So that, I don't know, I'm not sure, we have a staff.
Yep.
And I'm sure they're all busy, but should we direct it more if the board sets out our biggest priority, our second biggest thing?
I think that's a
mean,
great
maybe-
idea because we've got a lot, we're juggling a lot as a staff. And it would be helpful for us to get a better sense as to what we should be prioritizing.
Sure.
In terms of whether it's auditing versus education versus
Right.
contested cases, whatever it is. If it would be helpful for us. And that may shift from month to month. I mean, it depends on the circumstances, but I think in general, this,
Or year to year.
or year to year,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. year to
So,
year. Maybe that's a discussion of the board
Yeah.
that we should have. A ranking of our most important to least important in the next 6 months, a year.
correct.
And if we can allocate some of our own resources in light of how that should go, would be, might help us out. I mean, might help move this forward if we have any, unless we're
Right.
at the bottom of the list.
Right. Right.
So anyway, so potentially staff that may be available, of course, we have to deal with cost and prioritizing from the board down is can we put more emphasis on the audit to get us through this next year process versus the other things facing you know, the board has to accomplish, so.
Sure.
Anyway, I tell you, we come a long way in a year. We've made some good progress. Thank God we have Maritza here. And Carmen, appreciate your input too. Trying to get my speaker working, but we have come a long way and it just opens the opportunity of what's out there and what we can do and just, you know, can't wait to be able to do it. Is there anything else we should be talking about? Any other comments, discussion?
I'm good. Thank you so much. This was productive.
Okay, all right.
Lauren has a lot. Lauren.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yes, I don't want to drag the meeting on since we've already been here for an hour, but I did have comments on the draft annual audit report. Should I send those to you, Al?
yes, sure.
Okay. And then we'll see this again before the board votes on it.
I'm having trouble understanding, but
So she's talking about the annual report. Remember, we also attached that to this meeting, but we just didn't have a chance to
Yeah,
touch
yeah.
it. So she wants to add some comments, I believe, to it.
yeah,
And she wants to know if we're gonna have it before the next board meeting.
another.
I'm sorry, Lauren, are you referring to having an updated one with your comments?
Yeah.
Or- Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
because I don't think this is ready for the board to vote on.
Oh, no, that's
So
why
I'm
it's
assuming we're
a
not going to
draft,
elevate
yeah.
it in December, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can
I'll
just
send them
CC
out.
me on there too, Lauren, I'll appreciate that, so that I can
Sure.
discuss with Al, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jean, did you have another question?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to take my hand down. You know.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
Okay.
Al.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call meeting closed. huh?
Close at 4:05.
Okay, thank you. Are we done?
Yes, we're done. Thank you very much.
Okay, no, because I had to switch to my phone, as you know.
Okay, I'm about to terminate the meeting now, so have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.